Chapter 1, A New World. Kateryna pressed her forehead against the cold airplane window, watching as the endless sand dunes and the sparse city lights below gradually came into view. Just that morning she had been at home in Ukraine, surrounded by golden yellow autumn trees and cool air. Now the plane was gliding down over the hot lands of the Persian Gulf. Her heart was pounding with excitement and anxiety. A new life awaited her in a distant land she knew only from the news and stories. The plane touched down gently, and soon Kateryna found herself in a completely different world. The airport of the Emirates capital greeted her with the clatter of unfamiliar speech, the scent of spices in the air-conditioned air, and the bustle of travelers from all over the world. Kateryna gripped the handle of her bag tighter, trying not to show her confusion. Announcements came over the loudspeaker, first in Arabic, then in English, people in traditional long garments. Men in white kanduras and women in black abayas with elegantly draped headscarves hurried past alongside tourists in shorts and t-shirts. This juxtaposition of modernity and tradition captivated her. After collecting her luggage, Kateryna walked out into the arrivals hall. As agreed, a driver from the palace was supposed to meet her, since she had come to work for the family of the country's ruler. Kateryna was a nurse and had accepted a rare opportunity. A private contract to care for the Sheikh's ailing mother. The job promised good pay and a unique experience, but the unknown was daunting. What if she couldn't handle it? The anxious thought flashed through her mind. What if the cultural differences proved too great? She took a deep breath, adjusting her bag on her shoulder, and decided it was too late to back out. She had to move forward boldly. The person she was supposed to meet, however, was in no hurry to show up. Kateryna scanned the crowd, looking for a sign with her name on it. Minutes passed, and the person she was waiting for still hadn't appeared. Her anxiety grew. Her phone had no signal, and for a moment, panic seized her. She imagined being left alone in a foreign country in the middle of the night. No, stay calm, she told herself. The driver is probably just running late. Excuse me, miss, are you waiting for someone? A soft male voice asked in English from behind her. Kateryna turned around and met the gaze of a tall man. He was wearing simple, traditional ivory-colored clothing and a national headdress, a kutra with a black agal cord. His face looked young, with a short black beard, and his dark brown eyes sparkled with friendly interest. Yes, I'm waiting for a driver, Kateryna replied, first in Russian, then repeating the phrase in English. She immediately felt embarrassed, realizing that her nerves had caused her to mix up the languages. I'm supposed to be picked up from the Sheikh's palace. The stranger's face twitched at the word palace, but he immediately nodded politely. They might be running a little late, he said calmly, now in English. Traffic jams are common here. Is this your first time here? Let me help you make the call. Kateryna handed him the slip of paper with the contact number she'd been given with a sigh of relief. The man deftly dialed the number on his phone and began speaking in Arabic. Kateryna didn't understand the words, but his tone was polite and calm. A minute later, he hung up. Your driver is stuck in traffic near the airport, but he'll be here in 10 minutes, the stranger translated. He asked you to wait by the columns at the exit. Thank you so much, Kateryna breathed, feeling both grateful and awkward. I feel so uncomfortable. You're very kind. The man smiled slightly. Now that her initial fear had subsided, she noticed that he had noble features and a direct gaze. Welcome to Al Medina, he said warmly, naming the Emirates' capital. I hope you'll like it here. Kateryna relaxed a little. The stranger's kindness gave her confidence. Excuse me, she remembered, what is your name? But the man merely smiled enigmatically and, folding his hands across his chest, avoided a direct answer. I was happy to help. Good luck in your new home, miss. With those words, he bowed slightly, instinctively pressing his hand to his heart in a polite farewell gesture, and vanished into the crowd just as quickly as he had appeared. Kateryna only managed to thank him again as he walked away. A few minutes later, a late driver appeared on the horizon with an apologetic smile and a sign reading Kateryna. Having calmed her initial nerves, Kateryna settled into the cool leather interior of the black car. The vehicle glided smoothly from the airport along the wide highway. Outside the window, the city at night scattered the lights of skyscrapers and brightly lit streets. In the distance, a crescent moon shone above the dark silhouettes of minarets. Kateryna felt the fatigue from the long flight mingling with excitement. She was truly here, in the very heart of the East, and the unknown lay ahead of her. She recalled the stranger's warm gaze at the airport and how easily he had solved her problem. In all the commotion, she hadn't even asked his name. Whoever he was, Kateryna thought, he was the first kind sign she'd seen in this country. Clutching her bag to her chest, she closed her eyes wearily as the car carried her toward new beginnings. The car sped along the perfectly smooth asphalt, and the sound of the tires lulled her like the whisper of the sea. Kateryna watched as futuristic buildings with mirrored facades floated past the window, reflecting the lights of the night city. She remembered her garden back home, where it probably smelled of wet leaves and twilight right now, and for a moment, a sharp pang of homesickness squeezed her heart. But here, in this scorching air, there was a different scent, the smell of expensive perfume, saffron, and ambition. Suddenly, the car slowed down, coming to a stop in front of massive gilded gates. Guards in full dress uniform quickly checked her documents, and the gates swung open silently, revealing a long driveway lined with tall palm trees. At the end of the driveway, a palace rose majestically, a white marble marvel beneath domes that shone like pearls in the spotlight. "You can do this, Kateryna," she whispered to herself, clutching the small icon her mother had given her for the journey even tighter in her pocket. "It's just a job. You're a professional." The car doors opened, and the hot night air rushed into the cabin. As she walked up the marble staircase, Kateryna sensed that someone was watching her. She instinctively looked up at one of the second-floor balconies. There, in the shadow of a carved arch, stood a tall male figure. For a moment, she thought she recognized the very silhouette that had met her at the airport, but the light from a street lamp momentarily blinded her eyes. When she looked up again, the balcony was empty. Only a warm breeze barely stirred the heavy curtains. Kateryna crossed the threshold of the palace, and the heavy oak doors closed behind her.
Yeah, those crooked roads, they teach you things. Traded dusty boots for a brand new pair of wings. Got scars on my soul and rust on the plow, but I ain't the man I was. Look at me now.